and I think that we can start now. So allow me to welcome each and every one of you into this workshop. Again, Mr. Faisal, it's a pleasure having you on board. It's a pleasure having you on this. And I would like to welcome everyone again and again and again. Right, so this is the IoT Certification Orientation Workshop, where we are going to explain everything related to how to get certified in certain areas of IoT. However, I believe that most of you know something about IoT. It's a concept, it's a new concept, it's something that, it's a brand, it's a trend that everyone is taught to talk about, let's say years ago. And today we're gonna like shed light on more of this area, of this important sector, of this important trend. And Mr. Faisal is going to help us on that. So Faisal, would you be kind enough to show us the agenda for this?
Sure. There you go.
Right, so basically our agenda is going to be like this. We're going to introduce our trainer, who's Mr. Faisal, and what is the course, what's the IoT training, and who would be like the benefit from this course, who would be the main beneficiaries, who are the targeted people. If you are like an IT professional, definitely you will get benefits. I'm gonna keep it later. And Mr. Faisal is going to give us also some details about the training programs offered, and in addition to that, what are the course options that you may have, because we have so many options, or there are two options, and these are things that are going to be explained by Mr. Faisal. Now, switching to Arabic. أهلا وسهلا فيكم جميعا لهذا اللقاء. بسعدنا حضوركم، بسعدنا وجودكم معنا. في البداية بحب أشكر United Engineers اللي قدموا كامل الدعم للتسجيل ولحتى نوصل لهذا الموعد ونقدم لكم هاي الورشة بهاي الطريقة. وكمان بحب أقدم لكم BuzPro، مجموعة من البروفيشنالز الاستشاريين المتخصصين في عدة مجالات، من ضمنها التقنية، من ضمنها إدارة المشاريع، ومتخصصين أيضا في مجالات أخرى متعددة. والآن بالنسبة لي أجندة اللقاء حيكون في عندنا مجموعة من النقاط. أولا راح نقدم لكم اللي هو المدرب الأستاذ فيصل، لمحة ونبذة عنه، سيتكلم عن نفسه. بالنسبة للكورسات أو بالنسبة لمجالات التدريب في IoT اللي هي الانترنت اوف ثينجز، اللي هي انترنت الاشياء، راح نتكلم عنها. الاستاذ فيصل راح يتكلم عن انترنت اوف ثينجز، حيتكلم عن المستهدفين من نحكي من الكورسات حق التدريب، مين هم اللي ممكن يستفيدوا منها، ما هي مجالات الاستفادة، وما هي التفاصيل المتعلقة بالتدريب. خلينا نحكي اللي هو تصنيف التدريب على جهتين، راح يتم الحديث عنهم أيضا من خلال ورشة العمل اللي موجودة. طبعا معاكم البورد، دي مسج بورد، تقدروا تحطوا أسئلتكم جميعا في أي وقت. احنا هاي الأسئلة راح نطلع عليها، وراح يقوم الأستاذ فيصل بالإجابة عنها في نهاية ورشة العمل أو لقائنا هذا. Ladies and gentlemen, we are opening the chat board, so you can add your questions at any time. However, we're gonna answer them at the end of this meeting. All right, so let's begin. Mr. Faisal, again, I would like to welcome you on this meeting. It's an honor, it's a pleasure having you, sir. So I'm gonna give the mic so you can start, and I'm gonna be like coming in from time to time in order to just I'm going to look into the message board, and I may jump in order to ask you for things that are being delivered by our dearest attendees.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Haitam, and everyone. Welcome, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. Also, the United Engineers and BuzPro to give opportunity to such unique the proposition for everyone. I'm sorry for the audience actually, and my Arabic is very limited, the very the basic. So I'm gonna speak English as Mr. Haitam mentioned and cited. All right. So let's start talk about myself very brief. So my name is Veysel Baidoan. I'm a certified trainer for IOT. I have 20 plus years experience in different IT and telco business and technology side. And recently, I'm working as chief architect and also the principal consultant for IOT in the Middle East region. Before I had the similar also the principal the level also the job let's say the job and across the Middle East and Africa and Europe also too. So you can reach me through the LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn address, and as Mr. Haitam pointed out, it's recording. This is the recorded, and we are going to share with you the recording and after recording to everyone to their email. All right. So okay, here you go. So Mr. Haitam.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Faisal. Thank you for your introduction. I'm looking into the board and I'm looking at the questions that started to pop in.
Okay.
I believe that all of these questions are going to be answered within the, let's say, the track of this meeting. So if you would be kind enough to wait, and you will have your information delivered. بالنسبة للأسئلة اللي تم سؤالها أصدقائي راح يتم الإجابة عنها. بالنسبة للديوريشن، بالنسبة يعني فترة التدريب، نوع التدريب إلى آخره، هذه كلها أمور راح يتم الإجابة عنها من خلال الشرح اللي راح يقدم لنا إياه الأستاذ فيصل. فأنا متابع معكم بالأسئلة. اختاروا أي حاجة، يعني اكتبوا أي شيء أنتم تحبوا تتكلموا عنه. مساحة مفتوحة جدا، وأنا كمان ما حبيت أن أطلع على الفيديو ناتو حتى ما أسرق الثندر حق فيصل، خليه هو اللي معاكم، لكن أنا حكون معاكم بالصوت. على أي حال البداية راح يكون عندنا الصوت يزبط، والصوت مرات بيكسر. يمكن أنا مش مهم قد ما هو مهم فيصل، فأتمنى أن يكون هو اللي ما ينكسر عنده، وإذا انكسر عندي أنا أحاول أضبطه الحين. طيب حاليا قدامكم اللي هي يس أكيد مرة ثانية بأكد لكم الريكوردينج راح تنعطى لكم، والسلايدز راح تنبعت على الإيميل الخاص فيكم. يعني هذا شيء احنا متفقين عليه وتم الحديث عنه. I'm gonna say it again. The recording of this workshop will be shared with you, and the slides or the presentation also will be shared with every one of you. So don't worry about it. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Faisal, tell us about it. Tell us about the IoT training.
All right. Yes. Okay. Good. So the IoT is a buzzword. Everyone is speaking about. So this is this is very unique training and certification the opportunity. So I mean who should take the discourse actually, and what is the content? This is the next slide, this slide that we're going to talk about. All right, so I think there are a couple of questions, and I believe everyone has the same question. So what is it, and and who should take the discourse? I saw a couple of questions related to also too. Okay, so this course is we'll have the multiple days, 3 days, and each the days will take about 4 hours. It depends on the audience and the participants. By the way, it may take the 5 hours also too, because we'll have some hands-on some the use cases and levels also too with the training sessions. Okay, so we will start the understanding in the first day with the understanding overview. So for let's say for the beginners and go detailed in the gradually. So we'll talk about the new technology update and new concepts and also the use case also too. So it will be the IoT architect preparation, certification preparation, and exam preparation also too. So after the course the completion, you will have the training completion certification. Plus, you can apply to the exam to be certified by the certification authority. All right. If like it has also the opportunity to to change your job to the cutting edge technology, to work with the cutting edge technology, the new area, and getting more business and more the technical details also too. This is the new opportunity also too. This is the course and will also develop. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Faisal. Now I'm gonna say it in Arabic. الأستاذ فيصل قال إنه التريننج أو الكورسات المتاحة هم في عندنا كورسين متاحين. أول واحد هو الإسنشال والثاني اللي هو الآي تي اركتكت اكزام. الأول عبارة عن تدريب لمدة يوم واحد، الثاني تدريب لمدة 3 أيام. الأول والثاني بمجرد ما تنتهوا من التريننج راح تاخذوا اللي هو الكومبليشن سيرتيفيكيشن اللي هي شهادة إتمام أو حضور الدورة. وكمان بالنسبة للدورة الثانية اللي هي المتخصصة راح يكون فيها يومين 3 أيام عفوا، وراح يكون فيها أيضا مختبر لتطبيق بعض الأمور المتعلقة بالآي تي، لأنه راح تكون متخصصة وراح يتم عمل مختبر فيها. وهذه راح تأهل المتقدمين للمتقدمين للامتحان اللي هو IoT Architect اللي هو IT 9001. Thank you, Mr. Faisal. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, who should take the course actually? So so I assume a couple of questions again. So I mean, what is the level? So who should take the course? This is the answer actually. If you are the managing the team, managing all the business and technology also too, this is good for you. This is like executive managers and the managers also too. So because there are the levels of the training. Okay, so we will have then we will start the initial. Okay, so we'll go the deep deep dive of the the IoT technology also too. So this is good for the executives and leaders and both the business who wants to the make or enter the new business, new IoT the business, or to understand such the new technology. This is good also the business and technology professional also too. So again, to change the current position or explore the new role, this is good for you also too. This is a good opportunity for the training, having the certification and getting certified. And this is good also too. Another one is the consultant and advisor. This is very important. If you think you are an advisor and consultant, and to help to a company, a business. And also some executive guys, this is good for you also too. So you will be familiar the concept and you will understand what is IoT and what is the technology. This is good for you also too. And also if you are working at the government sector, and you will see the many projects and many new technology and area. Smart city, like we will have it in a very quick in a couple of years later that I'm I involved personally with the connected cars and or on smart health. So many the verticals. So if you want to enter, if you are still in that sector and to make the more having the more the experience, this is good for you also too. So this is like in beginner and even for the professional, technical professional. So this is good for all the training because we have the levels.
So, Mr. Faisal, aside to what we understand when we talk about IoT or when we think about IoT or any digital, let's say, trend, it's not only for IT professional. It goes also for other sectors, other levels of professionals. We're talking about executives. We're going to business and business managers, technology managers, and we're talking about consulting, advisory, in addition to, let's say, the government sector, right?
Yes, exactly. So this is again, even the health business. So the digital transformation. This is the very again, it is related to the working, the person to who is working with the health sector also too, because the digital transformation will be an IoT, so will be related to them also too. So we have the smart health, the business vertical on IoT side. This is good for them also too.
So business owners can also be engaged in such certifications.
Exactly. Especially the SMEs, small and medium enterprise, who wants to enter the new era, new technology. So if you think you are away from the technology and wants to know the more and going into the detail, this is good for you, I believe. Yes.
I have a question that really caught my eyes. I had two questions. I think that we shouldn't just delay them. A question that was saying, what is the language used in IoT? And the other one, it was not a question, it was a statement. Of course, other professions, example, from the mechanical engineers. So regarding to the question, Mr. Vaisal, the language used in IoT, do we have like an information that we can give our audience?
So for the language, this is, I mean, the IoT is an ecosystem, okay? So it is not the one unique standardization, one unique the technology. It's a combination of the multiple things. It's a level, it's a multiple level. So it touches the many different, to the different employees or different type of the person who has for example, mechanical engineers or even civil engineers, or the planning in the government for the responsible the baladiya or municipality, right? Those are or regulation or the small SMEs working with different technology. Those are really so unique, unified, let's say and common understanding. They will understand within the training. So there is no one, let's say specific or one go through the language or dance the things. We don't have it. Okay, so this is the thing in this training. So the unique one.
Okay, so just to summarize, I think that we can say IoT is related to many sectors, touches our lives in much more way that we know about, and almost everyone can really benefit from it, from the IoT, and many of the audiences, let's say many of the levels of professionals can also attend courses related to IoT, regardless if it's introductory or it is specialized. يعني أعتقد يمكن من خلال الحديث يمكن نحن حاليا الأستاذ فيصل قال مين هم الجهات اللي ممكن تستفيد من هذه الدورات أو الدورات المتخصصة في الإنترنت أو إنترنت الأشياء. ومن الواضح جدا ان هي تتعامل مع اكثر من مستوى من البروفيشنالز المتخصصين، مش فقط في مجال الاي تي، لكن مجال الهندسه، الاي تي الحكومي، الخاص، التقنيه، الطبيه، الصحيه الى اخره، حتى الشؤون البلديه، كله ممكن يستفيد من موضوع الانترنت، انترنت الاشياء. Mr. Faisal, thank you very much for this. I think that
Yes.
and another thing. Sorry for interruption. We're logging every question that you have, and we're gonna answer them, and we're gonna share it with you as well. So everything that you ask is going to be logged in. It's gonna be answered, and we're gonna share all your questions to everyone. So you will not have anything lost. You will know everything related to anything that you ask for here. الأسئلة اللي انتم حتسألوها يا جماعة راح يتم جمعها الإجابة عنها وإرسالها لكم في البريد الإلكتروني لاحقا بعد اللقاء هذا. شكرا جزيلا. Mr. Faisal, please carry on.
Okay. All right, so we have the training details. We are going to now I'm going to mention the training details. So what is the training? Okay, so I believe most of the question will be cleared out now the training details. So our the session is not we planned for 1 hour, by the way. So we passed 25 minutes. So we will have additional 20 minutes, and so we'll then go to the Q&A session. All right. So this the first day duration 1 day so we'll start. This is fundamental IoT or essential IoT. So this is let's what type of information we are going to mention in the first day. So fundamental components will start. So what that means, the devices, active, passive devices. So what does the active devices, what are the functionality they have, or what type of sensors what we are talking about in the market. All right, so we're gonna mention all the details also and definition also too. Like the transport level or microcontroller or firmware. What is the difference? So we will define, and we will give an example with the power sources, network and network sources also too, with the fundamental components. So in the first day, so you will understand also what is edge computing. Then you will understand the platforms, IoT platforms and functionality. This is think about the layer. So we'll think about again each the components and all the layer also too. You will understand, you will know what is in the functionality of the IoT platforms also too. So what we are using in the solution, the gateway. So what type of gateway we have, and what type of gateway we or you will use in to solve or in your experience. So what type of gateway will have in your work also too. So we will mention the gateway types also too. So another one is the IoT architectural layers. This is the functional definition. So we'll mention about what is the telemetry, intermediary gateway. What is it? What is the function? So what is the intermediary platform layers? So we will define the common language, and you will understand. You will have all the layer and some the details also little, not the more anyway. This is for actually again IoT design consideration. What what you need your requirements. You need to think about it while the design. All right. So this is again very high level. So we will mention the consideration they want. Okay, the data serialization or IoT messaging. We'll mention it. Serialize or deserialize, or the binary or non-binary the data. So we will mention about the little the information also to it, and you will understand also too. And we will mention also the business domains. This is very important. So what type of business domains for the business guys, and IoT messaging. So this is the messages how we deliver. So as 1 day, the first day. So this is it will take again the 4 hours. So first day, we will cover essentials of IoT from starting from the ground to some the level. So you will understand the first day to what is IoT and an ecosystem. All right.
So, Mr. Faisal, what you're saying is the first course is a 1 day period, and it discusses everything related to IoT from a fundamental ground. It talks about everything related to IoT, explains the concept, the ecosystem of IoT. What is IoT? What are the main expressions, concepts, everything related to that. This is the first program, which is a 1 day, and these are the main areas that will be covered in your training or in this training.
Yes, in the first day. All right.
Okay, amazing. So, go ahead, sir.
All right, this is the day 2. So in day 2, so we are going to the deep dive. All right, so we'll go the more the technical and architecture, the deep dive, or the second day. All right, so it will take a couple of hours in the program, 5 hours also too. So we will talk about the mechanism, IoT mechanism, and the design, some the patterns. So those the patterns, those are very important. This the unique again, this for the training proposition. So it will help the architects or the person who wants to be an architect or more the detailed. So these patterns specifically designed and defined to your the next the work on the IoT side. So for example, fundamental functional distribution patterns. So automatic the autonomous the controlling or intermediate controlling. So those are the different the design patterns also too. All right, you will understand, and we will have some of the example also too to better understanding. So we'll have the telemetry data processing the patterns. So why? I mean, those patterns specifically to use the data specific in the design, like minimalize the data or canonical data format. How we are gonna use it? What is the problem? So how we are gonna solve it with the data type? All right. So like the utility patterns. So this the patterns to design specifically for the network-based the positioning if we need, or multimode communication we need. This is for the specific the patterns. Okay. So the other patterns what we define the security and reliability patterns. So we will the design. You will use in your design as an architect, like what type of the security and some and the reliability. So in your the design, you are going to use it or you need to use it. Okay, like the performance the optimization patterns also too. So as you know, the IoT is related to the limited resources the devices, like the sensors in like putting in house or in the street with the very the small small devices, humidity or temperature. So those are the resource constrained devices. So those the performance optimization patterns will be very useful to design the resource constraints your the design. All right. So this is then again the 1 day and little deep dive to technology and architecture perspective, when it will give you a design perspective how we are going to categorize and design with the patterns. This is like the formula in your the feature to design the IoT as an architect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Faisal. I would like for you to move on because we need to know more details also.
Sure. All right. Okay. So all right. Okay. You see, then as you can see, this is the very the brief. So then and one the matrix. So we will then the mentioning and we will then cover in our training. So this is then that I talked the patterns. Those are mechanisms. So which the patterns are related to mechanism. This is like your and the formula to use your design. It's very unique and very important. This is like you will if you understand this the table, you will design your and you will design your architecture for the IoT with using such let's say a ready the material you are going to use in your the design. All right. So we have also day 3. So this is, again, this is very unique in the training. So we have the first day is a fundamental. Second day is deep dive on the technology to, in order to help the architect. We will have the classification and the design. And third day, day 3, so we will have the case study, and we will have the real case study and exercise and on the problems with the real world problems. All right. So we are going to have again a couple. It will take a couple of hours also too. It depends on our the audience and again the participants. But average what we are having, what we have the 4 days, 4 hours. Okay. So I have one example. So to show now to everyone. So what type of let's say use cases we are going to work. This is in the real world in an example in the world. This is a smart city example. Okay, smart city in the exercise. So we call the alpha city. Alpha city is the most size the urban the neighborhoods. But so there is the new business centers built in the location, and what they are expecting, they attracting thousands of new residents, and they have the highways also too. All right. So government decided to provide the fund to Alpha City to improve infrastructure. All right. So this is the one unique and let's say smart city. So you will have in your real life one example. So officials of this like it can be the municipality or a company who takes the responsibility to design such the requirement. So they have some the requirements. They have the funds, but they want the establish IoT network, constant telemetry information for the city office, and they want to issue commands and for different types of utilities to control in a very different environmental conditions. This is the question. Okay, in real smart city an example. So what we are going to do with day 2 the patterns, we will work together on this specific use cases, and we will design and we will work in the high level architecture. We will put together to fulfill the smart city the problem, okay, and the requirement. So we will have the multi different the vendor vertical for the lab. We'll have like smart city, a smart hub, or connected car, or even different type or like for example, we may have some question or the cases for agriculture, farm, smart farm. All right. So we will have different the question and the lab. We will solve together with using the very well defined methodology. All right.
And this is all covered in day 3.
Yes. Yes.
So day 1 is like explaining what's an IoT, what are the main concept, what is the main concept of IoT, explaining everything related to that. Day 2 is going deep dive in the concept in the IoT, and day 3 is a lab, which is going to tackle certain points. And you have introduced an example, which is a case study of a smart city. This is an exercise for how we can deploy or use IoT in a smart city concept.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Exactly. So I'm going to quickly okay. So we have training course options. So we have the 2 and the mainly options. Okay. To option 1 is the essentials for IoT, essentials like the fundamental, and option 2 is the IoT certified architecture the preparation. So option 1. So who should take the option 1? Who should take the fundamental IoT the essential course? And this is for executives, managers, and business and technology professionals, or who the person who doesn't have any information, so wants to enhance in improving the themselves. So this is good for them also too. So they will have IoT concept and use cases, and the main let's say the layers and main all the components, they will understand that they will have the information also too. This is good for again the person for the start in the beginning, and professionals and executives also too.
I'll go into Arabic. إذا هذا هو البرنامج الأول المتاح واللي بيقدم لي أساسيات الإنترنت، إنترنت الأشياء، والأشخاص اللي ممكن يستفيدوا منها أو الجهات اللي ممكن تستفيد منها اللي هم المدراء التنفيذيين أو المدراء أو العاملين في قطاع التكنولوجيا أو اللي أشخاص اللي لهم علاقة بهذا المجال سواء كان في القطاع الخاص أو القطاع العام. وراح يكون في يعني شرح كامل لل ايش هي الانترنت، انترنت الاشياء وتفاصيلها بالكامل. وهذا الكورس ليوم واحد، وبعد في نهايته راح يكون في شهادات للحضور بالنسبة أو إتمام هذا الكورس بالنسبة للأشخاص المهتمين. Mr. Faisal, thank you. Can you proceed?
Sure. All right. So we have another option. This is for the detailed, the IoT architect, the person who wants to be the architect. So it will take it will be 3 days, about on 12 hours totally. So we'll then start starting the fundamental essentials and go deep dive and make the lab test, the real use cases from different verticals, as I mentioned earlier, like the smart city, industrial IoT, or health, or agriculture, or transportation. So we're going to cover and understand, apply our knowledge in the past 2 days on the lab in the session. So this is good for especially the students who wants to have the position for IoT side and technology, and engineers who wants to go again or wants to get the more detailed or deep dive. And this is good for business and technology professionals also too, and also the government and private sector employees also too. So this is the good opportunity for the person who wants to also change or find another position or understand, or even for some the company owner to enter the new the business business opportunity. So it will be the preparation for IoT 9001 in exam. So anyone after the completion of the both the options will have attendee the batch, and will can apply for those they will be ready to apply those the exam after the completion of the 3 days in the face-to-face and the remote the training for that exam to certified IoT architects.
إذا هذا هو البرنامج الثاني اللي هو المتخصص بشكل أكثر تفصيلي، بيعطي معلومات تفصيلية أكثر، تدريب أكبر للإنترنت، إنترنت الأشياء. مدة التدريب هي 3 أيام، وعدد ساعات التدريب 12 ساعة، وراح يكون في اللي هو الشرح الكامل عن ال IoT Architect Preparation Exam اللي راح يمكن الحضور أو الشخص اللي يدخل هذا الكورس من تقدم للامتحان والحصول على الشهادة فيه. والجهات والأشخاص اللي ممكن يستفيدوا منها موضحة مثل ما قدمها الأستاذ فيصل. Thank you, Mr. Faisal. Please carry on.
All right. Okay. So so we will mention about the certification exam also too. So to the person who wants to be an architect, an architect. So it will be 1 hour 110 minutes, about the 2 hours actually. It's almost the 2 hours. So when this is the remote by the way exam through the person view, or also the Kitura, they have their own site exam proctoring also too. So they can apply after the completion of that exam, the training, so they can apply to be certified an architect on IoT. This is a unique one, by the way. and they will have like a digital certification badge through the acclaim and credly, so they can have and announce it and to use it in their the online. They can use it in professional area.
إذا الشهادة اللي بيتم منحها هي مدة الامتحان 110 دقائق، ومجرد ما يتم النجاح في هذا الامتحان راح يتم إعطاء الممتحن أو المتقدم الامتحان شهادة بالنجاح، وهذه الشهادة هي معترف فيها بشكل عالمي، و راح يعني يتمكن من خلالها الشخص اللي تقدم للامتحان من الحصول على الخبرة الكافية اللي ممكن تأهله إنه هو يتقدم في مجاله العملي في ال IOT، في الانترنت، في انترنت الاشياء. Mr. Faisal, I just explained the screen to our loved audience, and I would like you to move on, please.
Okay, so actually we have now reached the Q&A the session. So very happy to answer all the question what we have today.
Okay, good. Let me just go into the chat board in order to see. Yes, we have a question from Mr. Muhammad Horani, and he's asking about 3 specific points. The first one is the relationship between IoT and artificial intelligence.
So yes,
I'm gonna tell you the 3 questions. Also, the use of IoT in smart cities. I think that you talked about that in a nutshell. And the third point later on about communication technology used in Saudi Arabia and M2M applications. And there's also a question from Mr. Muhammad Rawash. Is it good for fresh graduate mechanical engineer, the certification? Is it good for fresh mechanical engineers? So, Mr. Faisal, what do you think about the first 3 points?
Okay, all right. So, relation the IoT and artificial intelligence. You will see in the training session the layer. Okay, so we will have first of all the layer or things layer. The things layer with the multiple the components. Then you will have the communication layer. Okay, you will have also the IoT, the data. So this is the relation. So how IoT data will be created and send it to through the layer, different layers, and how they are going to the process in the data side. So this is the IoT the concept. Okay, so you will understand with the data how they are going to process it and how they are going to use it with and define the patterns. So the AI and this the picture is the processing of the data. All right, so you will understand the relation of that both the IoT and also the AI after to understand the whole the layers and all the components. All right, so second question. So I gave you the one example, real example actually. So on this is in one of the cities in North America. So the alpha cities, an example. So we have even in our region, similarly than let's say the example. So we will in Thursday in the lab session, lab the day. So we'll talk about the more and more about the smart cities and cases with defined with the patterns and the components. We will design the high-level architecture of the IoT, the smart cities. So you will understand the whole the details. Okay, how we are going to fulfill the requirement of the smart city. Okay, that there might be even we will discuss about the solution, because there is only one solution. We'll discuss about the multiple solutions together. Even in maybe we may have the 2 or 3 different solution, but so we will use our patterns how we are going to optimize it, how we are going to the best solution, which one is the best solution. You will see also too. All right, the third question. So communication technology. So we will have, you will understand, the first day, the communication technologies. So there are many communication technologies, by the way, in IoT side. So the licensed one, unlicensed one. So like in the LPWA, low power, the wide area network one, or the high, the bandwidth, the requirements. So the most of the cases for IoT, resource constraints. It means resource means like the memory or computation. So like the sensors or the actuators, and in the field, in the area, or in the IoT use cases. So in like the very the limited one, the small the form factor, like the small the humidity sensors to get action for the actuator, or like the think about the position, the devices, or like the humidity to take action, again to switch for some the commands, the process the commands. Those are like the resource constraint within the use cases and the resources. So this is very important. So the communication technology, again, what we have in our region and the Saudi Arabia, we have multiple the communication technology. We have mobile communication technology, and we have also unlicensed spectrum, what we call you will see in the training side. For example, the LoRa or the Sigfox, or even the multiple different the technology. So we have in the area. So we'll mention and that the communication technology for different the communication technology we'll cover in the training session, even in the first day one. All right. So again, we have as I showed you earlier. So we have like an autonomous controlling the cases, okay, the patterns. One is the patterns. So autonomous means like the semi, let's say you can consider this is the semi-artificial intelligence the scenario, all right, to take the action so without sending to the control or in the human intervention. This is what we are going to have in the 3 days the session.
Thank you, Mr. Faisal. I'm going to check if we have other questions.
Yeah,
I believe that
I think Mohammed Al-Rawashi asking the question for graduating mechanical engineer, right?
Yes,
graduate. Yes, actually, again, even I saw even the different disciplines they took that's the course also too. Even like the teachers. So who wants to be to take the position to understand the new technology, even the chemical the engineers or chemical guys also too, because again industrial IoT. This is the one another vertical industrial IoT, and for the petrol in the chemical the industry or the manufacturing industry, also in the digital transformation. So very related, very important with the life and on the business side also too.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Mr. Faisal. I believe that some are saying it's the prayer time. So now I'm gonna go Arabic. Is there any university currently studying? There's a question here popped up, Mr. Faisal.
Yeah. Okay.
The question is, are there any universities currently studying or teaching the IoT and artificial intelligence as one of the engineering sector? Meaning, do we have like, as far as you know, sir, do you know if the discipline of IoT and artificial intelligence is being taught in any universities or being recognized as a degree by itself, or is it like a component of a degree still?
So there are a couple of I searched also to myself because I'm working with a professional in hands-on the chief architect and many the consultant. So I searched in the internet for IoT and artificial intelligence. Yes, there are a couple of the courses and university, but this training is not exactly for, because they focus on universities like multiple universities. They have focusing on the specific area, artificial intelligence on some area. But IoT, so this is very unique, the training, by the way. It's very hard to define, such training, and, get together and certification. All right, this is, the very, unique. It's not, I didn't see more in the world, by the way. This is very unique.
So the knowledge or the certification of IoT is obtained only by having a specialized training course.
Yeah, there are some universities only like the special area, industrial IoT, or using an AI in and a little even very focus, very very dance the concept they are using, and it may take a couple of weeks also too. This is different concept. This is training is yes, they have some universities, they have some after graduation, yes, let's graduate the students, yes, they have, but this is not, it's not like the training within the use cases and so and explaining the ecosystem.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Faisal. At the end, I think that we have only 1 minute or two just to end this meeting. I would like to thank you for giving us an insight on IoT, what type of certifications that we can have, and whom are going to be like interested people who would like to be tested or certified in this sector. We have also a very big question from Mr. Ahmed Saleh. As an engineer, I would like to be an IoT technical engineer. Do you provide certification, I believe, certification courses to qualify students or engineers to practically and technically as a full solution starting? Yes, Ahmed, I think that the second course is addressing what you're asking for. The prep course is the one that you're asking for. Anyway, we'll take your question, put it in the summary questions, and we're going to share our answers with every one of you. What about the course material, Mr. Faisal?
Sure. Yeah, good. Okay. So we we will have the course material. We like the physical the material. We are going to share with you, and also the soft copy also too. You will have the soft copy. So materials we will have the day 1, day 2, day 3, and lab, and additionally the materials. And you will have also like the mind maps for the preparation exam. So like some and I'll try to define to show some like the posters you will have some the posters. Yes, we will deliver the very rich the materials to everyone. So they will have like the workbooks. From different the workbooks they will have the hard copy and the soft copy also too. All right, so we have the materials, they will have it, and they can use in their and the real life also too, and exam the preparation also too.
Amazing. We have also questions all goes around what is the day, what are the dates for the courses. I can tell you, my dears, that we will share with you the schedule of all courses within the next period, and you will all know each and every course dates and times in addition to the fees by itself. So everything will be sent to your email, and you can also use the links that will be shared with you on the emails to know more about the details of these courses, details, dates, and cost. Everything related to that will be shared with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to finish this meeting, I would like to thank Mr. Faisal for attending. I would like to thank United Engineers for making this possible. I would like to thank every and each one of you for attending this workshop. Without you, it wouldn't happen, and we would like to have you all staying in touch. Okay, before leaving, Mr. Faisal,
Sure.
I think that we have a question. If you can be kind enough, just wait, because I think that he's still typing, so
Yeah,
we're
okay.
gonna give him like a minute or so. Please go ahead, sir.
All right. So, are we going to need to wait for a couple of minutes to
just this question, because I think that I don't know if he's a gentleman or a lady. The iPhone is typing or giving us a question.
Hello, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I just logged on there. Just knew about this seminar or webinar. I do have a question because I'm really interested in Internet of Things.
Sure.
In case I want more references or to have more courses in this field. Could you provide me a reference about this seminar? That's what I'm asking about. Just I'm looking.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Faisal.
Sure. Actually, I think you are asking the course you should do that. We mentioned about the possible options actually. So we have it in option one. If you are the managing team, and if you are the business in the person or executive in the manager or government sector who wants to enter in IoT, I think it's good to have it in option one. Means in one day IoT fundamental IoT the course. It's good for you. So we can discuss even through the email. You will have it. So you can describe your the requirements, what you need, or if you want to go more detailed, all right, be an architect to design the architecture of the real use cases in different the verticals. Then I would suggest you have the 3 days the architect IoT architecture preparation the training course.
إذا صديقي احنا في ما قاله الأستاذ فيصل إنه في نوعين من البرامج. البرنامج الأول اللي هو ليوم واحد وهذا بيعطيك اللي هي الفاندمنتالز أو الاسينشلز، والكورس الثاني اللي هو كمان بيعطيك اللي هي التفاصيل وفي مختبر وفي تفاصيل أكثر لحتى إنك تتقدم لامتحان ال IoT Architect اللي هو امتحان متخصص وعلى أساسه ممكن تأخذ أنت الشهادة في هذا الموضوع، شهادة معترف فيها عالميا. التفاصيل راح يتم ارسالها لكم على البريد الالكتروني، واذا كان في عندك اي استفسار او اي سؤال ممكن انك تبعث لليونايتد انجينيرز او تبعث للبازبرو وتحط ايش بالضبط التوقعات او الحاجات اللي انت تتوقعها من الامتحان وايش هي الكورسات اللي انت تتوقع انك تحتاجها، وعلى اساسه ممكن يتم الرد عليك. Okay, so I can see no more questions. Or let me just check. I have joined the class link. I never asked for email. Do I put my email here? Please do. Yes, Jahmi, please put your email because we're gonna go and check all the questions here, and it's good to have your email with us.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you can also connect with us on the link that is obtained by United Engineers الدعم مشكورين. حطوا لكم اللي هو اللينك اللي ممكن تتواصلوا فيه. Thank you, Mr. Dahmi. We're gonna connect with you on this email. However, if you need to connect with us, if you have any questions, queries, or anything, you have the link. Anyone who would like to add his email, please do. And I would like to thank you for attending. Thank you, Mr. Faisal, again. Thank you all. You have been a great audience. I hope that we have shed a light on what's an IoT and what are the courses that you may be interested. Thank you very much for attending. Godspeed. Thank you, Mr. Faisal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aitam, and also in United Engineers and BuzPro also too. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you
if you have any question, please feel free to contact the emails. You will have it also
and your LinkedIn also, because we're gonna share your presentation, and everyone will have the LinkedIn for you. They can connect with you also directly. Thank you all. again for coming in and Godspeed. في رعاية الله جميعا، شكرا لحضوركم، وسنكون معكم على التواصل، وراح يتم إرسال كما ذكرت رابط الورشة اللي تمت، كمان راح يتم إرسال البرزنتيشن أو الشروحات اللي تم وضعها، وراح يتم إرسالها للجميع على الإيميل الخاص فيه. شكرا لكم جميعا.
All right. السلام عليكم. Thank you.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ننهي إن شاء الله، وشكرا لكم.